What's up everyone, it's ENDYMION, and there's been a huge rumor leak circling on various websites around Disney's approach to what will become the Marvel Cinematic Universe's iteration of the X-Men. And it's not looking good, fellas. There's also another weirdo writer who just flat out believes that male fans are simply afraid of strong female characters, which I'll just get into later on. To begin, let's look at some articles starting with CosmicBookNews.com, where they, along with other websites, are all echoing the same tune, which is that Kevin Feige is hell-bent on pushing the agenda no matter what anybody thinks. And apparently the X-Men in the MCU will be heavily female character focused. This all comes from a reliable leaker named Daniel Richtman, who's leaked so much stuff in the past already, it would take too long to list it all. But in terms of recent events, it was Daniel who was the original source for that Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four reboot, which is still likely going to happen, unfortunately. And like this X-Men reboot, that Fantastic Four reboot will also feature Sue Storm as the leader, because of course she's a woman. And not only is the Force female, but the future is too, I guess. Anyway, according to these rumors, Kevin Feige wants to make his version of the X-Men be completely unique and different in every way when compared to the Fox movies. And they are going as far as to not include Magneto in this version, or at least according to these rumors, Magneto will not appear at least until much later on. Probably because he's been in every iteration of Fox's X-Men with Michael Fassbender and Ian McKellen playing him. While that bums me out because I love Magneto, he's one of my favorite characters, but then again, yes, he has been overused in the movies, so I get why they don't want to use him, well, at least not right away. And according to this rumor, the main big bad for the X-Men in the MCU will instead be Mr. Sinister, which honestly, I'm okay with this. He hasn't been in the Fox films yet, which is actually crazy that they never got around to him. Mr. Sinister, however, is a really good pick because he's a very interesting character. For those unaware, his real name is Nathaniel Essex, and he's basically a supervillain that's obsessed with the concept of evolution, and he works tirelessly to discover new ways to push the human body beyond its limits. As for powers, Mr. Sinister has an insanely long lifespan and has been alive for way longer than we really know. He can also shapeshift himself into other forms like Mystique, and to make him even more insanely powerful, Sinister can almost to a certain degree see into the future too. Yeah, he's kind of overpowered, but I mean, when your enemy is the entire X-Men, you kinda gotta be super broken in order to be a threat. Sinister has done some weird stuff like cloning Jean Grey and naming her Madeline Pryor. And then he tried to use that clone of Jean to get jiggy with Cyclops in hopes of creating a new super mutant that he could exploit. The guy is basically the embodiment of someone who's violated every level of the Geneva Conventions and its code of ethics. He's also frequently teamed up with other baddies like Apocalypse, and was even tasked by Apocalypse to create a virus that could wipe out the entire human race. Which may be a little on the nose considering what the world has gone through these last couple of years. But anyway, enough about Sinister's origins. Like I said, he's a solid villain and a great choice for something like this. However, of course, this being Kevin Feige's MCU, things are never brought to their full potential anymore, so naturally, this is where the good news surrounding this ends. Apparently, according to Daniel Richtman and another reliable leaker named Can We Get Some Toast, Feige's master plan is downright moronic when you read it out loud. Get this, not only does he want the X-Men to be predominantly female-focused, but the plan, as of now anyway, is not to include characters like Wolverine on the team either. Yeah, you heard that right. Feige, in his infinite wisdom, thinks it's a better idea to throw a bunch of women on the team and keep our boy Logan outside in the cold. I know I've said in the past that Feige's MCU has been bad post-Endgame, but this is just moronic to me. They are in desperate needs of a win here, and clearly their agenda pushing of late has not worked at all. I mean, that ParkPlace.com recently reported that Disney has lost somewhere between $1 to $2 billion in revenue in 2023 alone, which is all due to their box office flops and then some, so it's not like they can really afford this not working. Cause as you're well aware, the X-Men are legendary. They are, in my opinion anyway, just as important and influential as the Avengers or Justice League. Characters like Wolverine, Jean Grey, Storm, Cyclops, and more, they are all household names. And I think what Feige is doing here, honestly, it doesn't make a lick of sense. The X-Men are a very diverse group of characters, and that's done deliberately on purpose by their creators. But like always, Kevin is taking the wrong lessons from this, and thinking the diversity of the X-Men should begin and end with women and their ethnicities. But what people love about the X-Men is that they personify a large swath of different people, and both men and women have led the team or its variations before. Look, I love characters like Rogue or Storm, I think they're dope as hell. But I also think Wolverine, Cyclops, and Beast are just as iconic and important too. And I don't know about you, but the idea of an X-Men movie franchise without the male characters is, well, it's not X-Men. And if we look back to the year that was 2019, God, that was a lifetime ago at this point, there were leaks even back then when Disney had just recently bought Fox. And even their plans back then for the X-Men were spelling doom. One of the biggest rumors coming out of the leaks even back then to now is that Kevin Feige wants to not only race swap people like Professor X, but he wants to do it to Magneto and Wolverine as well. And I made a whole video almost a year ago at this point as to why I think Magneto being race swapped is not only moronic but incredibly racist. But the short version is that Magneto's character and origin are heavily tied to the fact that he is Jewish. And his family was wiped out during the Holocaust, so any race swap around Magneto is not only a terrible idea, it completely misses the point of his character too, since his distrust of human beings is because of how he and his family were treated during World War II, and the fact he saw firsthand how cruel mankind can be to people, even those who look like them. And that's what frames his vision of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and that's an incredibly important thing for his character. But Kevin Feige, in his infinite moronic wisdom, doesn't think that matters, and the agenda is all that will reign supreme. And I once joked about Wolverine getting race swapped before, and I can't believe that this might end up happening. I swear to God, if they do what I think they will, which is make Logan a black slave that gets tortured by a room of white evil scientist men, I will become the Joker. But it's starting to slowly become possible that this just might end up being the reality that they go with. After all, even back in 2019, Kevin Feige said that this is the future, this is the way the world is, and the way certainly our studio is going to be run going forward. Because it brings about better stories. The more diverse the group of people making the movie is, the better the stories. And flash forward to today, and clearly his mentality then has not worked out well whatsoever, has it? Even another Marvel producer named Trin Tran said, in thinking about the future of the MCU and how all those characters are going to connect, diversity is crucial in our future. It's wild to see how these chess moves years later have all but destroyed the brand during the height of its power like this. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised since back in 2022, the producer of Eternals, whose name is Nate Moore, actually believes hiring people who know the source material is a bad idea. He said back in 2022, and I quote, "One thing I think is interesting, and specifically for writers I would say, a lot of the times we've pitched writers who love Marvel, and to me, that's always a red flag. Because I go, oh, I don't want you to already have a pre-existing idea of what it is. Because you grew up with issue 15 and that's what you want to recreate. I want somebody who's hard on the material who goes, what is this? I think there's a movie here, but maybe we should be looking at it in this way." The best example of that for me was Marcus and McFeely, who weren't comic guys coming up, but were like, wait, Captain America, this seems a bit weird. What if we kind of looked at it this way? And they weren't married to anything. Nothing was, there was nothing sacrosanct, end quote. And remember that this is the guy who made diversity the head of Eternals marketing, and it ended up becoming Disney Marvel's first ever MCU flop at the time. Now they're flopping all over the place, but that's insane to me. Why would you not want people who like and understand the source material? Clearly, when Marvel did hire people like that, they ended up making all the money and keeping the fans happy. In my own conspiracy theorist brain, the only reason people like Nate Moore, Kevin Feige, and Trin Tran don't want people who are fans of the comics is because it will be easier for these people to inject their politics into these projects since the writers or directors they hire won't know the source material intimately anyway. Which is great if you're a woke weirdo, but it's terrible if you like making money or respecting the source material. And that one part near the end when Nate Moore said nothing is sacrosanct, bloody hell, dude. That's the problem here, that nothing is being treated with respect. This is why things fail and why the X-Men being all female pretty much is a terrible idea. Didn't work with the Marvels, it definitely won't work here either. and not including someone like Wolverine, who is easily the most popular character in the X-Men. And I would argue top 5 or at least top 10 comic book characters of all time is just stupid to me. Kevin really thinks he can make a movie about the X-Men that features none of its heavy hitters outside of maybe Jean Grey and Storm, and people will just turn up. He has to have brain damage at this point. There's no other way to explain it. And it just tires me out, man. I just want to see the original X-Men in their glory, in their iconic outfits from like the 90s being cool on the big screen. I'm not saying Storm can't lead the X-Men eventually, since she absolutely has in the past. But reducing or eliminating entire character arcs surrounding male characters like Cyclops and Wolverine is just such a smooth-brained move on Marvel's part. I hate that I live in a time where everything I love is getting ruined. Is it so bad to adhere to what the classics were about? And apparently the movie will not even be called X-Men because we can't have the word men be in a title anymore in a positive light. The more likely title for this upcoming abomination is The Mutants. Even though, come on man, everybody's gonna call it the X-Men anyway, so what's the point? This push to erase all the male significance is ridiculous. Hopefully these activists never realize humanity is often referred to as mankind and they don't vow to change that too. Oh wait, never mind, someone already complained about that term back in 2021. I hate it here, dude. We can't have anything these days. And the push for everyone to accept strong female characters has never been more annoying as well. The Gamer recently said via one of their feminist writers named Jade King, who had an article titled, "If gamers want more powerful women, then stop being afraid of them." The article mostly delves into games like Baldur's Gate 3, and this writer starts spewing conspiracy theories in her head as facts, claiming that male players are misogynistic towards female characters in media across the board. And this is why, in their crazy little heads, we should all bow to their superiority of women and wish for more strong female characters. Whether it's X-Men or Baldur's Gate and more, we just can't seem to escape this stuff, can we? Also, I just want to say that using Baldur's Gate 3 as an example of players being misogynistic is moronic, by the way, since nobody I've seen has ever complained that a character like Shadowheart is bad. Instead, all I ever see when it comes to Shadowheart is thirst tweets and people convulsing in their chairs over how hot they think she is. And over time, everybody has seemed to warm up to Lae'zel, and I romanced her in my playthrough as well. I love Lae'zel. She is my Githyanki wife, and I will die on that hill that she's the best character in that whole game. So it's not like people don't want strong female characters, it just depends on how it's implemented. In Baldur's Gate's case, it works, because the writers of that game smartly make the female and male characters interesting to interact with in every way. I liked every party member in BG3 mostly, well, besides Halsin and Minsk, mind you, I thought they were kind of mid. But everyone else is great, and I think these writers are taking the wrong lessons from this. This future X-Men movie reboot in particular should absolutely have female characters, not because of diversity or something, but because the X-Men has some genuinely awesome female characters in his roster. Jean Grey, Psylocke, Rogue, Storm, Hope Summers is kinda cool too, I guess. I also love Jubilee, I think she's great, and I love her 90s design, with her Mr. Clean magic eraser gloves and everything. It's not that fans don't want cool female characters and stuff, it's that these writers are throwing the men to the curb and ruining them on purpose to make way for the female ones. Hell, if Marvel did an X-Men reboot and it has a strong Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Jean, Iceman, and more, I'm totally cool with it. I more than anyone would love to see a sexy Rogue with her huge bombastic hair and yellow outfit with the jacket. Hell yeah, dude, she's awesome. But removing the elements that makes that franchise in particular cool is super lame. I guarantee you a lot of these X-Men will be race and gender swapped too. I even suspect when the Fantastic Four happens that Franklin Richards won't even be a thing, and his powers will just be given to his sister Valeria because she's a strong, independent woman. I know you all hate the idea, but tell me that's not something that will likely happen. It will, won't it? Just kill me already. And of course, as I was making this video, more information has come out over allegedly new castings and projects. So let's go over those now as well. I should also state that these rumors in both occasions are from a reliable leaker named Cryptic for Quail. Firstly, it's being rumored and reported by all the websites that Ryan Gosling of all people has met with Kevin Feige for a secret role in the MCU. You can let me know what you think he'll be playing, but if I had to wager, I'm going with Ghost Rider. It's the most obvious choice since Gosling has already hinted that he wants to play the character already. Although, since this is the modern MCU, I'm sure when Gosling becomes Ghost Rider, he'll be in the role for 5 minutes until a female bike rider with they/them pronouns steals his power and he watches her do all the fighting. I mean, that's what's happening with Blade still anyway, allegedly. Well, good luck to Ryan, but that's where this rumor ends for now. Next, apparently, Spider-Man 4 starring Tom Holland will be a street-level Civil War epic, according to rumors from the very same leaker. Apparently, as of now anyway, Spider-Man 4 takes place after Daredevil Born Again, where Wilson Fisk has become mayor of New York City and has outlawed costume vigilantes. This brings together Spider-Man with Charlie Cox's Daredevil, who was in No Way Home, as you know too. And it'll be a massive Captain America Civil War-esque film, where it's street-level heroes like Spidey, Daredevil, Kate Bishop, Echo, and allegedly, this would also bring in Jessica Jones into the MCU with the same actor from the Netflix series. John Watts is being eyed to return since he did do the MCU Spider-Man trilogy already. However, he left Fantastic Four's reboot due to creative differences. If he does step down, apparently Drew Goddard is going to direct Spider-Man 4. Which honestly sounds amazing if you ask me, because Drew Goddard was responsible for the conceptualization and structure of the Daredevil Netflix series. He was executively producing the show and was showrunner briefly for Daredevil in Season 1 before he left due to scheduling conflicts. But if you enjoyed Netflix's version of Daredevil, it's because it was overseen and created to fit Goddard's vision. So if you ask me, bringing the guy back who I would argue gave us the definitive Marvel live-action television series in Daredevil, to not only return to Matt Murdock's character, but also be given the reins to Spider-Man and more? Yeah, that sounds like a slam dunk to me. Of course, that is if Kevin Feige doesn't shit all over this and spread his feminist nonsense. But a darker, more street-level, no cosmic nonsense Spider-Man 4 may be hinting at bringing in the symbiote suit too. Oh baby, that sounds good to me. It's almost too good to be true, but let me be excited, okay? I can still have some hope. But as of now, that's the latest news surrounding what's happening right now with Spider-Man and possibly maybe Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider. Anyway, let's get back to our original video programming now, shall we? And if you don't accept the sludge, dear viewer, you are just another misogynistic hate fiend in the eyes of Disney Marvel. Well, I guess if we need to teach them this lesson by voting with our wallets, we can just keep doing it. So, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and share the video, and thanks to my patrons as always. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.